Hey there's my fans, welcome to the commentary desk. It is Brandon and I's first time sitting here for Split 3. Ever, actually. Ever. Wow.
Wow, this is crazy.
Look how tall I am.
Oh, man.
This is great. This is great. Welcome to the desk. I'm Bart. That's Brandon.
Why do you look so tan? That is a camera trick, guys. He is pale as a ghost.
I am. I have that delicious pale skin. But we are here, and we are moving over to North America, where Brandon and I will be bringing you the action for Elevate, formerly Rival, versus Eager. Formerly Eager. Still Eager.
That was fun.
I know.
All right.
I liked it.
So the big news here, obviously, is that Eager has a new solo laner. Anatoly deciding that he doesn't want to play anymore, steps away.
He's the Phoenix.
Yes, he is now the Phoenix. And Omega stepping in from C9, which has kind of been like the big story this week.
For Cloud9.
Yeah, for Cloud9 and for Eager.
Yeah.
I mean, getting Omega, the world champion solo laner, right?
That's right. Well, we'll see. We'll see a little bit more about Omega here because he's played for such a strong squad for so long. Last time we saw Omega really be like the huge difference maker was a long time ago. He's kind of been part of the machine for some time now. So can he, break out of that shell maybe and become the kind of carry that EGR needs out of that lane? Totally never really bringing much in the way of player kill and more of a team fighter.
See, I really like the swap specifically because this will make Dare's play better. Omega is that frontliner that Eager has really needed. This is going to allow Dare to play that assassin role we know he excels at, which is going to make Eager much stronger. But they're going up against the newcomers here. Again, formerly Rival, formerly Yomi, now Elevate. Five players, two of whom we know, Met Yankee and Metheria, have been around for a long time.
Yes.
But Gilyara, a rather new player, has a very hard matchup in the solo lane against Omega. And who is, in my opinion, their star player, Vesalius, going to be trying his first-time hand at Zapman. Very difficult. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's a team full of rookies, basically. Met Yankee, as you mentioned, probably the most known player, but none of that really being professional-level play. I guess some kind of fringe-level, high-level challengers play?
Peas and peas.
Oh, there it is. Hey.
Look at that.
Picks and bans, my friends. Geb banned out away from Team Elevate. And Eager in the first pick position.
I don't know if this is a homework ban on the Geb or they just don't want to deal with shields. I mean, either way, not a bad pick at all. Athena going to be taken away from Eager as well, which is definitely a big pick. Polar Bear Mike loves this. Dare to Care will play it in the jungle. So this is very, very smart start from Elevate.
Yeah, we'll see Eager wiping the slate clean here a little bit. Polar Bear Mike kind of being added on a little bit late into the split.
Yeah.
And the light roster change as well into Omega. But yeah, a couple of tanky frontliners removed there from Eager. 3 Guardians banned so far in the North America
How do you like Guardians?
And of course, Alquan gone as well. And well, if Brandon's right, this will be the dog.
Yeah, Fenrir always very, very powerful. Ratatosker available as well, although I don't know that we're seeing too much of him lately. And this is post-nerf, right? He can only dash 3 times? Or
correct.
Yes, he can only dash 3 times now. Lost a little bit of damage as well. A longer startup on the ultimate, 1 second to 1.5. Still a very powerful character. And speaking of powerful, Bellona plays 3 roles very, very well, and she gets picked up first.
Yeah, she's been a very high-favored first pick position god. I mean, she doesn't really give anything away, and she doesn't have any real natural predators, so it's an easy first pick. Versus something like, say, first picking the Sylvanus, which leaves you open to aggro lanes and things of the type. But Elevate, they'll take the Sylvanus away, and what will they pair with it here? Still money's on the dog, I think, as the highest priority kind of aggro pick there is.
Well, Isis, oh, look at that mage pick. They're going to go for the mid lane here. Isis not a bad pick by any means. Great team fight control, good damage. The issue here is that they've already drafted 2 characters that will rely on some form of healing. Meaning characters like Odin go up a little bit. We just saw Raffer with incredible Odin play in the last
Serqet as well, also available here.
Very
We've
true.
seen Kirby pretty popular, but it'll be Puch.
Just as good. This is exactly what we're looking for. Fleeting Breath is going to not stop the healing, but it's going to turn it against them.
It makes Sylvanus really hard to play.
It does.
But Puch is very susceptible to those ganks.
We talked about this in the first game. Suntouch, Suntouch actually throwing out the hot banter on Twitter, saying you don't draft Opwash into Fenrir. Fenrir is still being open. Sobek as well has healing reduction. So look at this. Eager has drafted a first pick with no counters, and then 2 counter picks directly. Their draft so far has been literally flawless.
Yeah, they're certainly seem to be winning the draft at least in terms of counterplay here through the first 3 picks. But 1 pick remaining from Elevate and. Yeah, it should be some kind of mobile, kind of aggressive assassin, and it'll be Hun Batz. Haven't seen much play from him. A little bit weak, you know, around the level 4 to 6 mark is why we haven't seen much Hunbots. His AoE not that great for clearing either, so single target focused. His jungle timings just aren't that wonderful, and I think that's why we've seen him fall out of favor a bit. Elevate, they'll get rid of Odin as well, not wanting to get completely shut out of the healing game. Eager, now that Hunbots is on the board, Fenrir unlikely to be picked here unless they want to rotate Bellona into the support or solo role, which is kind of TBD, and Omega God still kind of pending. I'm sure you can play Bellona, but not his Bailiwick. With the Hades ban, that kind of indicates to me that, yeah, they're still looking for that solo. 4
Guardians and a Warrior band out, really favoring these tanky picks. You can also see Bellona, Sobek, Sylvanus already grabbed, so you're seeing tankiness being a lot more effective and a lot more favored, I'd say, than the last 2 weeks. But still, this is the start of the new split, and Jesus.
Took Ho-Yue. I'm not sure if that's a take it away from Zapman kind of thing. We know that's one of his favored gods, or if it's you know, really something that elevates him playing with it. But what it does give them is a tremendous amount of team fight now with the Sylvanus, Isis, Hunbots, and Ho-Yi all with very large circles for their ultimates that stack up quite nicely together.
Yeah, you know, at first it kind of seemed to me that they were going for like the top tier picks, but there's definitely a strategy emerging here. They're looking for major space control. What sucks about that, though, is they have to go up against Alpwash, who's like the king of space control. Even losing the slow, it's a lot of damage to deal with. And again, a lot of their healing is shut down completely. But Serqet Medusa, you know, this healing reduction, healing reduction, healing reduction, and I punish you for healing, right? Like that's the Eager comp right now.
Yeah, and Deuce also with that attack speed slow coming out. So she's got some really good tools against the Hui, who already suffers from a pretty low base attack speed, and they'll still go with the Fenrir will elevate.
Yeah,
so Hunbot's going to be. What do you think? Hunbot's in the solo lane here, or will it be Fenrir versus
It's more than likely going to be Fenrir in the solo to go up against Medusa. She can box pretty safely against it, although Hunbots will have likely the better clear. You got to remember that Fenrir's ability to rotate is going to be just as good as Hunbots', and having that solo lane rotation surprise the Outwash in the mid lane's big. You don't really need the ultimate as much as you just need the Brutalize, and really, there's no way for Outwash to get away from Hunbots, so it'd probably be the safer play, but we'll find out here.
Bellona doesn't have a great answer for Brutalize either in the lane. Where Hunbots is going to have to be doing a lot more in-handing versus the disarm. But we are underway, my friends. It's game number 1 out of set number 3 for the day. There'll be 4 sets, 1 more North American one coming at the conclusion of this game. But we're going to have the teams run into each other. And in a crazy turn of events, it's the Sobek running away, not looking to charge prey, as Eager and Elevate square from the jungle. Let's go ahead and introduce your squads. It's Eager. You know them as Lassus, Zapman, Dare to Care, Polar Bear Mike added in at the end of the last split, and now Omega added in at the beginning of this one. It'll be Bellona, Serqet, Alpwash, Sobek, and Medusa. Their opponents today, it's the rookie squad. Everyone really making their SPL debut here on the red team. It's Elevate. Giliaro will be your solo lane Fenrir. Mytheria in the jungle is Bots. Unrelinquished is your mid lane Isis. Met Yankee, of course, your support Sylvanus. And Vesalius. Kind of the player to watch is what I hear around town.
Yeah.
He's the Hoyi.
So to start here, it looks like Gilly has opted away from Red Pot Fenrir start, which is a little bit unusual. Usually augmenting that Brutalize and Unchain damage early on makes him very close to unstoppable. But he's going to be going into Boots 1, similarly to what we're seeing coming out from Bellona. Another thing to note here is that Gilly has opted into a lot of healing. Same thing for Omega, so they're going to be looking to stay in this lane for basically ever.
Yeah. 8 pots apiece. Or so, yeah, 8 pots apiece.
And most of it going to health, considering their multi-pots, which means mana invasions on the blue buff would have been really strong from either side. Both looking a little afraid, though, want to stay to their sides of the map. We're going to see. It's going to come down to who can clear faster and get in there. And right now, that camp belongs, it seems, to Elevate.
They're shaking off the cobwebs. Oh, my God. Look at the mid lane unrelinquished. Lassus playing forward. He takes maybe a bit more damage than we would have liked there, but
you can't step into the wave.
Old school Lassus there.
You can't step into the wave. If you step into the wave against Upwash, you're going to take half your health. Oh, he's jumping in real deep in the mid lane. Lassus getting low, overhand, first blood, going to the new kids.
Looks like they may get a return kill here on Mytheria. No, the one in hand, not enough to get it. So, yeah, I mean, which meant Lassus steps up trying to make the hot play. I think, you know, Lassus is really known for that style of play, but usually on like the Agnis and Poseidons of the world when he was a mid laner. Upwash, certainly not very mobile. We're going to have a dead Met Yankee over here. He just got overextended. Sylvanus doesn't have any real ability to escape once he's plucked by Sobek. And then the Creeping Curse is going to keep him locked down. And they'll get a kill under their carry will Eager, but First Blood was still given up. And that did go to the credit of the bots.
You know, I think that comes down to the fact that the start from the Hun bots Fenrir was faster. They had better clear. It got them into the mid lane faster. But look at this, Unrelinquished taking a lot of damage. Dare going real deep here, not quite where he wanted to go. Meteoria takes a lot of damage, but not enough to go down. Last is not with the explosion.
That dot hurts, though.
It's still going, man. Jeez.
Unrelinquished, yeah. He's going to try to make the play here, but Serqet's going to wrap around on him. He's on the right side, and yeah, Derek realizing that he's recalling on the right side of that tier 1. We'll go ahead and take away a back camp here. Not a huge win, but they'll strip about 100 golden experience away from the enemy team. Certainly worth it at the 2-minute mark as we're squared at 1.
I think that is going to be the difference between the two squads, because I always talk about how laning phase, getting a kill in laning phase isn't the end-all be-all, right? Any team can do that. It's, almost what you can do after it. And right there, he's like, we're not going to get a kill here, but I'm going to take your back camps, right? That's going to be, 70 gold for me. It's going to be minus 70 gold from you. And it's going to give my Serqet, who has a very weak early game, a much better chance to roam around the map freely without fear of getting hit by the Fear No Evils.
Like, getting the things after the action?
Yeah, that's it.
Or what is it? No, stuff after the stuff.
No, you were right the first
Things
time.
After the action.
Yeah, that was it.
Right, of course. Everyone, that famous acronym we all know and love.
Tata.
Yeah, Tata.
Yeah. I think we're on the verge of
something. We all know Eager loves Tata.
Okay, 3 minutes in here. Polar Bear Mike got a fling here. Unrelinquished once again and in some trouble.
Look at the timing there. Holding the tail whip, allowing the team to close in. There's the ultimate coming out from Derek here, but starting to take some damage here is Eager, but the Medusa ultimate is going to be enough. And those minions, a little bit of insurance as well, ticking time bombs there, kind of prevent any additional aggression. Checking in on the soul lane here. Omega, well, as you would expect, losing HP versus the Fenrir. Fenrir very good at putting out the damage, but getting a bit low on mana and still 900 million health pots apiece. This is still going to go on for quite some time.
Zayden, can we actually check in with the Fenrir? Let's see what he's choosing. Actually, wait, mid lane. Look at this. No, okay, nothing. Okay, back to Fenrir. Back to Fenrir. All right, so he has 3 levels in Unchained, 2 levels in Brutalizing the ult. So he's not going for the sustainability from Seething Howl. He's just looking for burst damage. At this stage of the game, of course, it's going to be great. And considering the fact that he's bleeding out a lot of Omega's potions, this is going to keep him in the game for long.
Eager making a 3-man, near to be a 4-man rotation here to this blue buff. Trying to respond now is Elevate. They're pulling their mid laner and jungler here. It's a 4v3 at best, and that Spirit Ball off the mark. Nicely played there by Eager, knowing where the ball was going to need to land to try to snipe that kill. They simply move out of the way after it is dropped and will walk away unscathed. 4 minutes in, 2-1 for Eager here. And I think for me, it's Sobek. Polar Bear Mike has been the difference maker so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of how it was in the last split. He was very close to untouchable. Every time we saw Eager do well, it was on the back of TBM.
No, untouchables.
Nope, that's Unrelinquished. Come on.
Damn.
So close, Bart. Not really, though. But yeah, like I was saying, PBM has been like their key. Putting Dare to Care in the jungle for that extra aggression and putting PBM on the squad has been just really instrumental in their rise, right? And I'm expecting this is going to be their split. I think we have that whole they are equal to denial thing going on from last split, but this time I actually think it's going to be closer to COG. The new COG lineup, which we'll see debut tomorrow, looks really, really promising.
Oh, Elevate. They're going to try to make the plays. That man knows what's going on. He's going to turn the corner, place the ward as well. We're getting close to 5 minutes. Gold Fury now down.
Oh, wow.
To about half HP, and they're going to reset her. So she's going to walk back and heal back up to her 500, or what is it, 5,000 base HP that she has? No, 4,000 base HP.
I think that all came off the back of the giant Stone Gaze, right? I mean, to really keep the Gold Fury in line, you're going to have to be facing her. Otherwise, you're just taking free damage. And at that point, Zapman's ult by itself seemed enough to deter them. With that, Eager maintains their lead. And
not a lot of warding around the map, actually, from Elevate. If you take a look at the minimap there, you only see blue dots represented.
Right.
And unless Zayden's messed something up with the N button there, we're looking at, actually, their vision. They just don't have very much to speak of. So they just didn't know that the rest of the team wasn't there behind Zapman when they were actually farming up that right side of the map. It was a secured Gold Fury play there from Elevate.
Whoa.
But Hu-Yi, he's going to get chased down and take quite a bit of damage from the Medusa. Zapman landing 2 of those 3 dot-based shots. Matt Yankee, if he wants to blink forward and try to make the play, he can, but they're just not feeling confident. Sobek, so disruptive.
That was very surprising for me to not see him take that shot. I mean, shooting the ricochet in a corridor like that's the dream. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown, but honestly, that probably should have been the kill there. Maybe not a kill, but that was like 50%. Dare to Care getting very low here. Trying to keep him off.
Then Lasses. Pretty mobile here. Backside, Hu-Yi's dropped the Suns, but Polar Bear Mike is going to chase him down, it looks like here. Going to have another pluck available, and yeah, it looks like the Sobek spell should be enough. He's going to leap over 1, but Tail Whip, not going to be close enough.
And just barely getting out of there. Speaking of which, Meteoria jumps away unrelinquished, almost out of mana in the mid lane.
And Serq made it out too.
Yeah, that's, you know, I guess that's not as crazy as we're making it out to be, you know, because considering it's Serqet, right, and she has like 80 jumps and a stealth. And
yeah, well, it was the Puch cleared the crypts there that really made the difference. Just it's such an annoying ability to try to fight into, especially if this Gold Fury is going to get pulled. Very difficult for Metheria to stay in there. Would have lost 50 to 60% of his HP just to get that kill, and then maybe would have gone down himself.
Metheria,
didn't get the first hit crit, though, unfortunately.
Didn't get the crit, didn't have his ult up. Realistically, they had no form of damage there. Gilly probably could have jumped in, but at that point, Omega still had Eagle's Rally. They really didn't have enough follow-up, and diving a tower when you're already down probably isn't the best bet. So good call from them to back off, but again, the blue buff going to be contested here. It's already taken, but Dare to Care is going in.
And looks like, yeah, he'll get a kill. No, actually, he's going to miss that in hand. She's going to have to leave 4 for the next one.
She's going to have to, oh, he doesn't have any mana to ult.
1 in hand, 2nd in hand, there it is, yeah. Omega will actually get it with the Scourge. Now we'll try for the hammer. We'll be just at the mark from Metheria. Did they drop the blue buff there? I don't think they did. I think blue buff was already done by Elevate.
Yeah, no, Elevate did get their blue buff that time, but they still lost the person that it went on to, so not really much gain there from Melee.
Zatman's about a level and a half ahead of Vesalius as well here in this duo lane, and looking at the supports, it's about the same thing. Met Yankee about a level behind PPM.
And look at this, you know, already going into that Transcendence. Player damage from Met Yankee is actually really high, but he hasn't really equated it much into anything aside from that first blood. You know, Serqet able to escape from. He used the ult trying to secure the kill. Oh, they're going
There's Met Yankee going in with the Wrath of Terror. They're going to lock down Zatman. They'll go into the Hunbot's ultimate as well. Not going to fire off that Medusa ultimate. No Stone Gaze available. Last is going to get slowed and stunned as well. This is a nicely executed gank from Elevate. They'll blow up Eager, trying to get a bit greedy on the left side.
Met Yankee, beautiful play there. Able to control this space to allow Metheria to get everything off that he needed to. The ultimate was used perfectly. They're going to go for this again. This time shouldn't be as much trouble. They've got to stick with this. I'm not really sure why Vesalius walked away. He is their highest damage to the Gold Fury and kind of maybe throwing away their chances of getting this. They're again chasing a Serqet, who is clearly undeterred, you know, jumps away pretty freely.
The big thing they're missing here is like reliable lockdown on the side of Elevate, and you see it there. They make a 4-man rotation off of the Gold Fury to try to blow up the rotating assassin, and they just can't keep her locked down. Granted, it's Serqet, but still, without any kind of guaranteed CC, it's going to be a tough game. I mean, they're really relying on the Fenrir ultimate to set everything up, or the Sylvanus ultimate for them.
See, this is what I was talking about pregame. It's Omega's going to be able to play that frontliner so Dare to Care can stick into these assassin positions that we know he excels at. And so far, while you know you only see 2 assists on him, it comes down to the fact that he has disrupted now multiple fights.
Fenrir's going to try to make the play. Nope. Omega's had enough of that. He'll pop his beads 1 and be safe for now. Serqet ultimate. Oh, wow. That first in-hand from Serqet did so much damage with those poisons stacked up. What is it, 30% HP removed on that in-hand, and it really, really took down Vesalius quickly. And this is going to put Zatman ahead probably close to 3 levels now.
And with that, probably close to boot side. And can we see gold in hand, please? You're going to see Zatman's Medusa.
950, yeah, he's got it.
He's got the boots plus a level of beads if he wants it. Already has a level of Aegis as well. He's in a beautiful spot. I mean, realistically, there's not really much comeback potential in the 1v1. Hou-Yi versus Medusa is a very hard matchup for Hou-Yi. And what he has to do here is rely on the team's rotation. And again, we have to point back at Metheria, the person who's been kind of setting everything up to this point. They got to stop chasing Dare to Care. They got to focus on the targets like Zatman, who are going to have a harder time getting away. Maybe even in the mid lane, go back for Lassus. But for right now, he's on the right side of the map. You know, going for his buffs. Good call here. Try to get that experience up. But he's got to get to that duo lane, and he's got to start hurting Zap.
And now it's Eager. They'll make their attempt at the Gold Fury, and it looks like they're not running from this one. Elevate. They don't really have a good contention. It's just going to be Hou-Yi.
Bye-bye.
And I believe his ultimate is going to be down from the last engagement. Indeed it is. There's just nothing Elevate can do to stop that. Nicely timed by Eager. Zatman noting that Hou-Yi's Sunbreaker ultimate was down, and the rest of the team was focused on the right side of the map in the back camps.
So we're about 10 minutes in, and Eager really starting to show up to this game. They have about, look at this, 3,400 gold lead. Although that might shrink here. Omega doesn't have beads this time. Okay, they're using a lot. I don't think all that was necessary. That was a lot for Bellona.
It's better than Eagle's rally.
Yeah.
You know, her jumping out and then dashing away as well. Secure the kill. Get it 4-4. You know, are you going to fight in the next 60 seconds necessarily with that Hunbots and Fenrir ultimate? You still do have a Sylvanus ultimate and an Isis ultimate to fight. You're right. I mean, maybe they could have secured it without it, or with the silence from Isis kind of maintaining the presence for Bellona without her beads.
But you're right. He could just Eagles rally away, and it was a 600 gold kill right there. So it's something to do with their comeback. The issue here is they need to take something off of it, right? They need to invade for the blue buff. They got to get that. What was it? The things after the action.
Things after the action.
Things after the action.
The rewards.
Right. I love rewards.
Do you collect your rewards every day in Smite?
No.
You should.
I have like 45,000 gems.
No, it's the favor, man. You gotta get the favor.
Oh, I spend gems on recolors. Everyone always gets mad when I'm streaming.
Do you spend gems on re-rolling an assault?
Oh, yeah.
You're the worst.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then I trade, and then I trade, and then I do it again.
This guy. Spending all of our hard-earned gems.
Well, I mean, hey, it's my salary.
It's true.
Me and Bart, we get paid in gems.
I do.
It's great. So let's take a look here at the builds. We're going to see cudgels coming out on either side here. The difference is that Bellona already has an Ickfall online comparatively to Fenrir, who just has the cudgel. I imagine Runeforge hammers here. Another good clear. The empty the crypts there entirely washes out the fight. Beautiful.
That's a really kind of impossible situation. Sobek's dashing away from you, and then in that same vector, it's the crypt coming your way. The anti-heal's available as well, and yeah, that's going to be a very dead unrelinquish, and he's going to pop just out of range from Met Yankee.
Met Yankee almost walked into that, by the way. You should point that out.
That's pretty gross. The Serqet ultimate plus that Puch dot. Can we take a look at Puch, please, Aiden, on Lassus and see what he has leveled indeed? Yeah, still sitting on that rank 1, so you can imagine what it's going to be when that starts ranking up. Those double dots running are going to really, really be a problem.
He's already got the max 1, the max 2, meaning his combo is swinging super hard. Actually, you know, we don't see a lot of Puch. Hover corpse explosion for me. Now remember, 3 corpses can explode at once, so you're looking at 100 damage plus, what is it, 480. So you're looking at close to 600 damage with 1 spell.
Not the easiest thing in the world to hit all 3, but
it's true. It's pretty easy to hit too, though.
Potential Hui, he's going to be forced into his beads and about 50% of his HP gone. You know, he really can't stay in this lane.
Oh, that hurts.
Like, it's just going to be bad if he stays here, because they're just going to dive this tower. And Lassus is going to turn the corner.
Yeah, this is great. The rotation from Lassus here is so key, because it's going to force him into a bad spot. Jumps, you know, forces him to jump away, guarantees the tier 1, so the Vesalius can't camp there anymore on his next return. They're now using Zatman against Vesalius more accurately, because they're putting more damage in the lane. By shutting off his escape path, it's just going to get worse.
Omega dives to tier 2 on the right side to get that kill. Tier 1's going to fall on the left side to Eager. Polar Bear Mike holding down the choke. Really, the only opportunity Elevate had to turn that fight was to get around and flank the fight there, and PBM puts himself, his big fat crocodile body right there. It's just no way. This
is the difference between the veteran and the rookie teams, right? There's 1 kill difference, and yet there's 3,000 gold between them, right? That's the key here. And they got to keep abusing this on this side, right? Talking about Eager. They must keep applying this pressure, getting Lassus to rotate around, using Empty the Crypts to push people away and get those objectives.
Yeah, next thing they have their sights on certainly is this tier 1 in the mid lane, get a bit more map control out of that. They have the tier 1s on the outside lanes as well, so they're going to open up that middle corridor. Next Gold Fury as well becomes a bit easier once they have that tower down, certainly where Eager is looking. Take a fight, take some objectives, and keep pushing this one on through. Let's take a look at the graphs here through 14.5 minutes. It's 5,000 experience and 3,500 gold going the way of Eager. And a lot of that sitting on Omega, Dare to Care, and Zatman, doing quite well for themselves.
There's a 5-level advantage between the two teams, Met Yankee having a small increase in experience over Polar Bear Mike, but honestly, the difference between them is not big enough to really warrant major discussion. The big deal is that Vesalius and Zatman are completely separated, and we talk about this a lot. Hunter matchups are very key. One level, one item level makes a massive difference, and in a matchup that Zatman generally does pretty well in.
We're going to see an engagement here in the mid lane. Dare to Care over the wall. They have a great angle here, does Eager, but it's a nice Hunbot's ultimate to kind of disrupt that fight. But Polar Bear Mike, he doesn't care, down and lurking in the waters. He's going to snatch Met Yankee back into the crypts. He's going to use the Wrath of Terra. Hui's going to drop the Suns as well, and it's a nice disengage for now for Elevate. Both teams dumping a whole lot. Zatman and Omega both still sitting on their ultimates. Were used from Elevate. Gilly still holding his Ragnarok.
There was 4 defensive ults from Elevate. Every single one of the ultimate usages there was completely a defensive measure, whereas Eager was trying to rush forward. They still have 2 available, to actually 3 now with Dare to Care's coming back up. They still have Last Breath. They still have Eagle's Rally, and Elevate, even with that disadvantage, is going to choose to do this. If they're caught here, it could be trouble. And again, they waste a lot of time going for
they're
Gold
forced
Fury.
to respect Zatman there. That ultimate, once again, so powerful. They don't have any ultimates themselves. It's a really, really greedy play. As you mentioned, the backline starting to get disrupted now, getting quite low as Mytheria, and down will go the Hunbots. That's so much of their damage. Ragnarok is still available. There's not much that Gilly can do with it here. Oh, and the Stone Gaze is going to hit Unrelinquished on the backline. And yeah, they're going to die for this one. There's Roma Invicta. Eagle's Rally is good in getting the kill into the mid laner. Zatman credited with that one with the dot. And this makes a free Gold Fury for Team Eager. very unlikely that Elevate can contest this.
You know, Zap not only gets the ultimate stun, but the CC immunity of the Stone Gaze actually absorbs the Ragnarok application as well. So it wastes that final ultimate that they had to use there. And once again, they're going to turn their sights right to objectives. They take not only the mid camps, but look at Derek's control here. Met Yankee can't get in. Vesalius is going to choose to go back. Free Gold Fury for the boys in blue.
Nearly 17 minutes in here, and yeah, they're going to pull ahead quite a bit now, 6,000 gold. But really, it's Omega versus Gilly here.
Yeah, it's
and as we suspected, Gilly, the rookie, going up against... let's see, I'll think about this for a second, then I'm just going to say it. Omega, the most experienced solo laner currently playing?
I would say Anatoly would have been.
Sure.
Yeah, otherwise, yeah, it would be Omega.
So, and Omega sitting on well over 2,000 gold ahead, 2,500 gold or so ahead of the Fenrir individually. You can see...
What is happening with Gilly's items here?
Trying to get the Rune Forge up online, but he's behind an Ick-File.
And he only has the Smithy's Hammer, so he's behind another Cudgel as well. This is a brutal lead.
Yeah, it's...
Okay, Dare. All right.
One in hand's going to kill Mathera here, yeah. Yeah, he really needed to... I think he just kind of lost sight of what he was fighting there. All those poisons stacked up, one in hand from this... So Serqet, the way she works is that each of her abilities applies a poison, and then in-hand abilities clear the poison, dealing damage, percentage damage for each poison you have stacked. So if she hits you with all of her abilities, it just takes one in-hand to really blow you up.
It hurts a lot. You know, it's I think 30%, which can be mitigated, or I'm sorry, 20%, which can be mitigated, plus the in-hand, which is close to 30%. You're also getting hit by, you know, 3 separate abilities, one of which is going to be doing true damage and stopping any incoming healing. You know, one of the reasons we see Serqet on the squad, you know, Gilly's going to have healing with the Seething Howl, Vesalius auto-attacks for heals with things like Dev's Gloves, and he just shuts it all down. And that's just, you know, for those two. They also have the Wisps, they have the Circle of Protection. The comp by Eager has been drafted masterfully, and Elevate seems to be going more for an AoE comp. The issue is that they can't ever get a proper team fight going because they can't engage.
First 2 picks healers. I mean, you called it right there. That pretty much was... They got so outdrafted through the first 3 picks, it made it really, really difficult to win this game.
Oh,
they really had to move away completely from a healing composition. Because Puch just crushes these HOTS.
He just pushes everyone back, too. You cannot fight inside his zone. There's just no way. Like right here. Like he's forced to jump out there. That would have been over half his health.
Omega recall baiting right outside of the tier 2 here.
Good old Omega.
Eager, happy to walk forward. Zapman perfectly happy with 2-3 shots on that tower with each wave. It'll go down sooner rather than later.
Wow, are they going to try to do this? Level 18 Omega? Doesn't really seem deterred. In fact, it seems like he's kind of baited this. All right, trying to bring Dare
he was riding the dog. That's a fun one.
Oh, he never actually grabbed him with the Ragnarok. Although PBM taking a lot of damage here. Zapman might be able to turn it around. Support for support. Yeah, going to trade out. That's a favor for Eager.
Yeah, the Crips plus the gas pedal, basically, from Medusa there. Just dumping all those in-hands, the dots as well. Trying to continue to fight his Dare, but he is definitely not any kind of frontliner. Zapman now with the Aussie proc. No way Fenrir can fight through that, but they will get it off of the ultimate from Isis Pops. The tier 2 doesn't fall. Still standing barely there. Omega's going to get hit by that Spirit Ball. That's a nice shot from Unrelinquished. That's a kill as well. Daredevil may go down as well. His mana is fairly low, but he does have both of his abilities available.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was basically out of mana right there. Triple kill for Unrelinquished. They're going to move in a not only successful defense coming out from Red, but a rather great counter initiation. Going to take 3 for 1.
I see the issue here. It looks like the player box doesn't indicate when the player's out of mana. It just showed the cooldowns for his ability, so they both were still available.
Huh. Interesting.
But no mana to cast them, so sorry for that, guys. But yeah, he was, of course, Care would have used his abilities had he been able to.
Ooh, Polar Bear Mike with the dodge. I'm very surprised he got away from that. 20 minutes in, though, Eager does still have the lead. Even though they've lost their first real engagement, they're still leading by a pretty hefty amount of gold to the tune of about 6,000. 2 kills advantage and a major still experience lead, thanks to Omega still 3 levels ahead of Gilly.
It's been a pretty one-sided match so far. I don't think anyone's contesting that, but Elevate's kept this relatively close. I mean, 6,000 gold isn't really that outstanding.
Right, there's still turnaround potential, as we've seen.
Yeah, 20 minutes, 30 seconds to have this kind of pressure on the map. Not to take it away from Eager, but Elevate's kept it relatively close. Eager hasn't taken, 4 Gold Furies at this point. It's the 2. They still have a tier 2 remaining in the mid lane and the left side lane, although mid lane is a little worse for wear.
Speaking of which, I would like to see them focus on the Gold Furies. This is the stage where teams that are in the lead tend to throw, going for objectives that they don't really have a full grasp on yet. In that case, fighting for Gold Fury should be fairly safe, whereas fighting for Fire Giant could spend the end. Oh, speaking of which, they're fighting for
Omega just dashed in there versus...
He's still alive.
What a player.
Nah, he's fine.
He popped his beads, too, to get out of that one, but... Yeah, he'll just square off against the whole team and eventually try to make his way back and pick up that blue buff, I'm sure.
It seems like he's channeling his inner Divios here. You know, he actually tweeted out, "I'm having more fun now." And right there, Omega generally wasn't known for those types of plays. This seems like an Omega who's having a good time.
So I wonder if Omega's going to move down to the team house.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Because we know that's one of the reasons why Aurora ended up having to step down from this roster.
Right, you know, the rumor is that they wanted him to go, and he didn't want to move. But Omega, I'm pretty sure, owns his own house.
Old man Omega, yeah, he's got a whole life, I'm sure.
The dude's like older than you.
I think he is, yeah. Also a military veteran. Shout out to Omega.
Yes, he is. Gold Fury, again, it's looking kind of free. They're trying to make the rotation in.
Yeah, they're going to get caught in this choke by Polar Bear Mike, and they just can't fight through this Sobek.
Wow. I can't believe he didn't blink.
Here goes Medusa. He's going to blink over. Not going to get it in time, but a nice attempt. He takes literally 3/4 of the HP from that outwash. Did you see that? The corpse explosion was going off to try to secure. Medusa jumped right into it and got exploded. Polar Bear Mike to take down on the left side. Clear the Crypt's going to be used as well to force, well, I guess to force Eager to fight because they saw it go down and they're going to run right in. Seemed like a good point to disengage, but no, they're going to turn this one. Last is going to fall to the Suns, but Vasilius will go down to Zatman as well. It's a double for Zatman in this fight so far. Met Yankee, he's dead to rights as well as they close in on him, and it ends up being the team wipe. Even after Polar Bear Mike and Lassus go down, a Deicide and a Tier 2 will fall. Maybe a Phoenix as well here for Eager. I don't think they have that HP. They certainly have the damage, maybe not the HP for the Fire Giant.
I'm actually pretty surprised that they didn't go for the Fire Giant. I think Omega's ability to tank it is some of the highest in the world. He very rarely makes mistakes. They still had their Hunter. They probably could have gone for it, but they want to choose the safer route here and go for the Phoenix. Metheria coming up in 3 seconds, but it's long gone. That's going to be a big win there for Eager.
Or are they just going to go, like, Ultra Greed?
Oh, no, there's no way. There's no way. That's way too greedy. Even for Omega and Zatman, that's too greedy. Yeah, they're going to head back to the base here. Player damage on the board. Unsurprisingly, Lassus with Opwash riding the top there, despite his recent nerfs, still being favored as a pickup against healers like Sylvanus.
Yeah, I don't know how amazing Opwash is going to be in this split. He wasn't even, I wouldn't say, that amazing in the last split. Definitely counterable. But I mean, being picked into this many healers and this many hot-based healers.
You know, when Circle of Protection comes down, and if he just throws the fleeting breath at any point after it comes down, anyone affected by it is going to get stunned. Yeah. As soon as that thing explodes, the stun goes off. Like, it's crazy good. And that's going to allow them, that's allowed him to maintain relevancy in these team fights. Omega slightly out of position here. Polar Bear Mike able to not only hang out, but I guess counter-initiate.
Yeah, Vasilius is dead here. He used his leap, and Omega simply uses...
well, he's still alive.
He'll live through it for now, but out of the fight for the moment at least. Dare to care. He's in a bit of a sticky situation. They're going to dump a lot of spells on him.
They're going to get him.
They'll get it as well. Omega trying to move forward.
Nice stun.
Stun. Yep, stunned out there. Met Yankee and Polar Bear Mike. Heavily agility pop, though, and that's going to be the disengage for now. Zatman eats a long-range Spirit Ball. The jungler's traded there, and a long, bloody engagement, and nearly Vasilius taken out as well.
Well, you look at the ultimate usage, and once again, Empty the Crypt still available. Stonegate still available. There it is. Slow onto Unrelinquished. You can see him moving very slowly. I really thought Wind Gust was slow immune. I learned something yesterday.
It is not, no, yeah.
No, yeah, it's crazy.
It's knock-up immune, isn't it?
Knock-up in a root, yeah. Stops Scylla cripples, which is probably the worst feeling. Hitting the slowest moving projectile on one of the fastest moving mages, and it doesn't matter? Like, jeez. Lassus using the corpse throw there to heal himself back up. Remember, 6% health gain per corpse pickup.
Oh, this is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, actually, no, off the mark there. Exploded too early. Met Yankee still taking damage, though.
Omega's got a great angle here. The Isis Ultimate is down. We don't see the fleeting breath dot coming out yet. Omega a bit low. Gilly's going to take some damage for the corpse. A lot of damage for the corpse explosion. The dot's still on him as well. I don't think it's going to be enough by just a bit here, but Lassus wants to chase this one down. Is the lazy back going to kill him? No, it won't. Lassus, he'll just heal himself up.
And there we go. And look, it's back off cooldown. Throw it again.
The horrific death, or God of Decay, right?
Something.
He's horrific.
He's certainly like one of the circles of hell, I think. 7th or something like that. And what's crazy, he has just a Chronos Pendant, and it's more than enough. I think it's like a 2.5 second cooldown, Bart, when you pick up both corpses for the corpse throw.
Well, we'll see it here. 7 to 4 to 1.
Yeah, so about 2.5 seconds total with the runtime in between that. Kinda nuts.
Yeah, more or less sounds about, yeah. I believe it. Maybe even 2 seconds, I would have believed.
Wow, look at this. Going
you could
right
have sold
in.
me 1.5 seconds, maybe, Brandon.
I can name that tune in 3 Eagles rallies. As he just dives into 3 people again. This time, though, it seems like they put the fear of God into him. He takes about half his health, but it's Omega. I'm sure he's willing to reinitiate with that amount.
Dare to care just waiting in ambush.
Yeah, look at this.
And Omega's going to go... they should know what's up if he's fighting just the one creep here, right?
Trying for it again.
Oh, look. Oh, it's because the rest of the team's taking Fire Giant. Oops.
Polar Bear Mike still trying to hold them off. It's getting lower, but yeah, they're gonna have to back off of that one. Good try. Not quite.
Fire Giant healing about 600 HP a second when he gets reset. Polar Bear Mike.
Nice.
Only hitting one there. They're going to invest into trying to kill the Sobek here. Not going to get him just yet. Oh, the Stone Gaze.
Still alive. PBM able to get back in there soon. Dare to Care, huge explosion as well. The Circle of Protection's going to go off, but it's not going to be enough. Look at that Fleeting Breath. That's probably going to be an F6 there. There's no way to hold that one out. The middle Phoenix is already down. Etheria is by himself clearing creeps. This one to me, Bart's looking like GG.
Yeah, I think so as well. The Fleeting Breath had them dead to rights there. The Sylvanus Whisper out. They hit him with a double stun anyway. They go down. Just Etheria, as you mentioned. Hunbots, he's pressuring the tier 1 on the right side. Titan's going to fall, boys. It's going to be about a 27.5-minute victory for Eager here.
Look at this setup by Lassus, throwing all the corpses in case he backs. Metheria is just like, forget this, man.
Goof.
Take it. It's done. Game 1 in the books. Eager showing up big.
Eager looks good. Omega looked great.
Omega looked fantastic.
Although
he really did.
We'll be looking forward to a little bit later in the season where Omega's going to get some of the big names in North America to see.
Ouch, Rip Gilly.
How he does with, well, Gilly's a rookie.
Yeah, it's true.
This is game 1, day 1 for Gilly.
You saw a few things in the solo lane, I would say, that were very rookie mistakes. You know, Omega stepping out of position, not ulting in time, things like that. Those little wins, because solo lane is all about slapboxing.
Sure.
And right there, Omega obviously won that lane pretty handily, especially considering Metheria was the one kind of carrying the team. Like, he had the jungle presence, and they weren't able to really equate it.
Let's take a look at the first blood here.
Speaking of jungle presence.
And this was, Lassus gets blown up there. It's just playing a little bit too aggressive. Serqet was like a couple steps behind maybe where the normal timing would be, and Hunbots did hit that timing and resulted in a kill.
I think actually Hunbots was a little bit ahead of the time.
A little ahead? Yeah.
I think so. I think
That's clear. You're right.
hit one of the 2 crits. You know, he had the Fenrir versus the Bellona, which is obviously very strong, but Dare takes player of the game there, despite the fact that he did get out-rotated early. His incredible turnaround with the 729. I mean, he was just a part of everything.
It's also worth nearly 40 fantasy points if you're playing along at home on any of the daily fantasy sites, Alpha Draft. Or
not at home. You could use your phone.
Home. You could use your phone. You could be playing from a Starbucks right now.
I mean, you could probably do better than that.
You could be playing from a nice local Korean bakery.
Dude, I'm down. I'm so down. Oh my god, and I'm so hungry.
But yeah, 7-2 and 9. That's 40 points for you. And if you had Dare to Care today on your roster, you're looking pretty good, I would say.
I love this. So PBM gets really low here, dodges out. He immediately ults to stop Gilly from being able to rotate on the follow, because the Brutalize would have guaranteed it, right? Throws the damage back. The poison's hitting absolutely everyone. No one's healing anymore. And then he's like, oh, I'll just dive back in and get another 2 kills. Like, just take the triple.
Yeah, the triple kill. That one actually, ends the game there. They go on to win from there. Taking a look at this game, let's take a look at the top 5 fantasy performers here for Alpha Draft. Of course, it's basically the roster, minus the support on the side of Eager and Metheria. The enemy's jungler doing quite well for himself as well. But Dare to Care leading all the players there at nearly 40.
I mean, I don't think anyone's too surprised about that. Although Metheria coming in there on the losing team is not super common. Yeah. Good play by Metheria. Had a good game, but unable to really find the overall AoE comp they were looking for. They were trying to get, the Ice Assault with the Hunbots ult, why the suns go off. It didn't really equate to anything, because that means just like, look at me.
It was a fine team composition, with the exception of that they were so healing, like they had 2 really big long duration AoE heals that were just really easy to blow up with this anti-heal comp. They got really nothing out of the ultimates of a couple of their characters.
Not to mention, the healing was also getting reduced by the Sickening Strike.
Sure.
The Seething Howl, like I said before, and the Devourer's Gauntlets aren't as useful because of the Sickening Strike. I mean, and then they had complete counter healing with the ultimate from Serqet, which affected everyone in the last fight. It was just, Eager's comp was drafted by what seemed like truly top-level Smite players, whereas the rookies were kind of like, we're going to pick good gods and hope they work.
Yeah.